are Christians allowed to play video games? Well, I got 4 steps on it and 4 answers about it. Let's get started. Have God number 1. Exodus 20:1-3. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. So, what the answer there is that we can't have video games number 1. We can't have that on top. We can't spend time with that the most. We have to spend time with God the most. We gotta read the Bible. We gotta spread the word. It's not that wrong to play video games, but it's also wrong to have that on top or have anything on top, really. So video games definitely don't have that on top. Definitely don't have that on number 1 of anything you do. Don't have that on top of God. Absolutely not. God would not allow that. That's not how Christians work. Christians are supposed to always have God number 1. That is what it is. We have to have God number 1. Not video games, right? Now, step 2. Video games can cause to sin. James 1:14-15. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then when lust hath conceived it, it bringeth forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. So, what that means there is that video games can cause you to sin, and what that means there is that we can be tempted into playing bad games. Now we're not allowed to play bad games and stuff, but we could be tempted. And let's just say your mom or your dad are like, hey, you can't play video games for a week, or you can't play video games when I'm gone. And then when you go and play video games when you're not allowed, that's being tempted, and it makes sin and stuff like that. Video games can cause you to sin, right? And it's kind of wrong. It's wrong to go and sin like that. It's wrong to disobey your parents. And video games, you should never let them control you, okay? Never let that control you. Always have God number 1. Always let God control your life, all right? You cannot have video games controlling your life. Step 3. Don't play bad games. Deuteronomy 5:17. Thou shalt not kill. So, have you ever heard of these killing games like Call of Duty or whatever, and they just start shooting and killing and whatever? Those games are wrong. I never play them, and Christians should never play them either. See, murder is against the Bible. It says here, thou shalt not kill, and then you're probably saying, that preacher, it's just a game. Well, it's not just a game, okay? Killing is wrong, and even if you didn't do it in real life, you still did it in a game. Okay, think about it, that you actually still did it in a game. It's wrong to go and play shooting games. And it says thou shalt not kill. So anything that has to do with killing, don't do it, right? Step 4. Spend time with Jesus. 1 Corinthians 1:9. God is faithful, by whom you were called unto the fellowship of his Son, Jesus Christ our Lord. So, if we have video games, what do you spend time more with? Video games or Jesus? Think about it. If you spend time with video games, you gotta take a break on that or something, because a Christian or a preacher or whatever, if you want to be a Christian and you want to follow Jesus, you gotta have fellowship with him, of course. You gotta spend time with him, of course. And it's always good. Just whenever you're playing video games, it's okay to play some now and then, but make sure that doesn't control your life. Make sure that doesn't control your life. See, video games aren't bad, but it depends on if it's controlling your life, and depends on what game you're playing. But it's always good to spend time with God. You know what? And you're like, how do I spend time with Jesus and stuff? Well, grab a Bible, read a bit, ask him what I should read out of, explain, and then make a video out of it, or maybe just study more and stuff. That's how you speak to God. Or even pray. Ask him for whatever problem you have. Just always have fellowship with Jesus. It's important to have that. And if we have your video games number 1, that's not right. You gotta change that right away, because video games number 1, then you're not really truly a Christian. And really anything you have number 1. That's it could be anything you want. Like even a hat here, you see here. If you have that number 1 on top of Jesus, then that's wrong. And if you just have any type of thing like a camera or whatever, I'm recording with a camera, but if you go and let's just say anything, if you have anything on top of God, then you better change that right away, because a Christian isn't supposed to have that. But that's what I wanted to say, and thank you guys all for 70 subscribers. I just wanted to say this lesson here today, and I just wanted to let you guys know that video games aren't as bad. It just depends on what games you're playing and how you're playing them, right? I hope you guys enjoyed, and that's lesson today. Bye.